This month I'm in Los Angeles, California to continue my new series I've been planning for a while. A series about people who burned bright, lived fast, and left the world way too soon. Hey y'all, my name is Nick and I travel across North America in search of famous graves as well as dark history locations. Welcome to episode number 2 of my 8-part series, Too Young to Die. Over the next few weeks, we'll be discussing the life, careers, and deaths of some of Hollywood's elite figures, visiting their graves and death sites. The one thing all 8 of these people have in common, they all died 40 years old or younger. If you haven't seen episode number 1, make sure you go check it out from the beginning, where we feature Marilyn Monroe. Today in episode 2, we're featuring someone whose death didn't just shock Hollywood, it shook millions of people around the world. Paul Walker was only 40 years old when he died. Today, we're going to retrace his story, from the movies and filming locations that made him famous, to the street where everything ended. And at the end of this video, we'll pay him a visit at his gravesite. But we're starting the way we normally do on my channel, and that's at the cemetery. Friends, we've made it to Forest Lawn Memorial Park here. It's actually really close. Warner Brothers Studios is literally like right there. But this is where Paul Walker is buried, along with many other celebrities who I will actually be covering in my 8-part series. So stay tuned for them. One of them is actually coming up in episode 3. But we're going to walk around a bit, talk about Paul Walker's life and career. If you watch old interviews of Paul Walker, at least to me, he kind of comes off as someone who's not obsessed with being a movie star. He's kind of like quiet, reserved a little bit, and you just kind of felt like maybe he was a little uncomfortable in the spotlight. But you know what? I think that's a part of him that people liked maybe and could relate to, and he just felt like he was a normal person, not some big Hollywood star like some of the actors that are out there today. And I also think that's it made people kind of trust him a little bit too. Now obviously this is a Paul Walker video, and you cannot talk about Paul Walker without talking about the Fast and the Furious franchise movies. The Fast and the Furious movies really began as a story about an undercover cop who gets into the underground world of illegal street racing here in Los Angeles. And I think what started as a crime drama quickly evolved into a global action saga. So I can remember specifically when the very first Fast and the Furious movie came out. I must have been late elementary school or maybe very early middle school, but I remember going to the theaters. Gosh, it was with one of my old buddies in grade school, but just to see the movies. And I loved Vin Diesel at the time, and obviously I didn't know who Paul Walker was, but obviously everybody got to know he was like the famous character, or the most beloved character, I would think, even more than Vin Diesel. But just the cars, and man, I remember, have you ever played Midnight Club? It was big on like PSP and like PlayStation, but I remember my brother and I playing Midnight Club, and you'd build all these hot cars, fast cars, and it was so cool. And a lot of that was inspired by Fast and the Furious. So those are just some of my own personal memories of when these movies came out. But now we are going to go to a few locations. I have many surprises for you in this video. We're gonna go see the Fast and the Furious filming locations, 2 of them, and then we're going to go to the crash site where Paul Walker unfortunately lost his life, and then we'll come back right here to the cemetery and pay his respects and spend a little time with him this afternoon. So with that being said, let's head back to the car and we'll go into downtown Los Angeles and check out some Fast and the Furious filming locations. Alrighty, we've made it. We're actually like pretty darn close to Dodger Stadium. So there's LA in the back, and right down, a couple houses down, is the Fast and the Furious house. So as I'm sure you know, if you're watching this, in 2001, Paul Walker would star as Brian O'Connor in the Fast and the Furious franchise, an undercover cop who gets into the world of street racing. And I don't think anyone expected it to be a global phenomenon like it became, but it did. And a huge reason why I think it worked so well was the chemistry between Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. It didn't really like feel scripted. It felt like they were brothers, right? I think the overall audience, including myself, just believed it. It's gonna be one of these houses coming up here. Should be 722. I think this is Kensington. 722 East Kensington. It's coming up right up here. Not this one. It's this blue one right here. They definitely like their privacy, but this is the Fast and the Furious house. Yeah. I'll see if I can throw a shot in, but there's a little clip of Vin Diesel going up these steps into the house. Wow, I can't believe I'm here. This is the Fast and the Furious house. I think they definitely get a lot of visitors because this house is so famous. Hence the overgrown landscaping. But this is it. Paul Walker, Vin Diesel. We're hanging out on the porch. Probably can't see through, but this is the house. It's sad to think that he was once right here. Wow. But that's, my friends, the Fast and the Furious house. So cool. I'm one of those guys, I love filming locations, I think because I love movies so much, and when I see places like that, it just, I'm glad I could bring y'all here to see that location. So now, because it's so close, I'm gonna go to one more location, Fast and the Furious, the first movie location. And it's gonna be a little shop where Paul Walker famously goes to, I think, get his sandwiches in the movie. But let's head there now. Wasn't bad at all. Next location's 2 minutes down the road from the house. So by 2003, Fast and the Furious 2 comes out, and Paul Walker is not, at this point, just a breakout actor. He really becomes like the face of the franchise. And the movies got bigger, the sets got bigger, the budgets got bigger, and the fan base became like global for the Fast and the Furious. All right. I'm wondering how many people will know or remember this scene, but this is a market right here straight ahead. And this is where, if I don't get hit by a car, I'm gonna try and cross. This is where Paul Walker would go to get his sandwiches. It's called Bob's Market. Pretty sure Paul Walker parked his car right over here. Actually, I think it was like a red truck. He parked like right over here, but I'll try to find some photos. I'm just going off memory right now, but I think he would park his red truck right here, and there's shots of him walking right into there. How cool is that? Yeah, just a quick location. Kind of cool, but sad to be here all these years later. See where Paul Walker was. Right here. Wow, Fast and the Furious was starting to become a $1 billion franchise. What did Paul Walker do? He did something very nice. He founded a charity organization. I'm sorry, it's a nonprofit organization that was called Reach Out Worldwide. And Reach Out Worldwide provided disaster relief in areas devastated by, earthquakes and hurricanes. And he didn't just donate money. He actually went himself. He worked alongside first responders, and what is very humbling but cool is he didn't publicize it. And that's kind of part of this story that, hits a little differently, like a little more emotionally, because on the day he died, he was actually attending one of a charity event for this nonprofit of his, and yeah, we're gonna go there next. So hop in the car. It's a good drive. So I will see you when we get there. On November 30th, 2013, Paul Walker attended a charity event here in Santa Clarita. He left as a passenger in a Porsche Carrera GT driven by his friend Roger Rodas. Some reports say Roger was driving 90, close to 100 miles per hour, and the car lost control. It struck a concrete pole and 2 trees, burst into flames. Paul Walker was pronounced dead at the scene. He was just 40 years old. We've made it. As you can easily tell from all the burnout marks. This is the road, and the exact spot is straight ahead. Right here. As you can see, it's been quite a few years later, but there's still fans that come here, like myself, obviously, but other fans that leave stuff. Hats. There's some cars. I love the rose with Jesus. That's beautiful. A wrench. That's pretty cool. Beer cans, of course. And I apologize, I totally missed this. This is awesome. Paul Walker hearts with all the rocks. Wow. What's crazy about this incident is, Paul Walker, he wasn't racing, he wasn't filming, he was actually leaving a fundraiser. It just happened so quick. Him and his buddy decided to go for a ride. Paul Walker was the passenger. His buddy was driving a little too fast on this road, and literally within seconds, your life's over. It's, I'm learning a lot already in this series that I'm doing, and I'm out here filming right now. It's teaching me even more that life is so precious, and just in a matter of seconds, based off decisions or whatever, it can be over just like that. The Fast and the Furious production team had a very hard decision to make. So when this incident happened and he lost his life, they were right in the middle of filming Fast and the Furious 7. So instead of, what they decided to do, instead of killing off his character, Brian O'Connor, they did one of the best things in cinema you can do. They basically gave him a send-off, and there was such a sweet, moment in that movie that was just really sad and touching, because you know what happened. But that's what they did. Maybe I'll just put a little rock inside the heart there, right in the middle. So sad. As I'm standing here, I remember, and I haven't even watched it in a while, I'll see it when I put it in this video, but I remember very clearly seeing the crash footage. I think the camera, the security camera on that building across the street caught the entire thing on film. Now, obviously the footage isn't great quality at all, but I think it was right up there.
Camera that was posted on a building just across the street from where the crash happened. You don't actually see the crash, you don't see the car, but did you see that? The light post falling and the tree, and then you see this debris go.
Yeah. I'm curious, so I want to go take a walk. There was just, I was filming and there was just a car flying up the street and I had to like run on the sidewalk. Maybe they don't know, but you would think that they would know. So that security camera, turn you around, I think was right up there. And then if we get this shot, I mean, this is as close as I'm gonna get. That's that footage we would have had, just up higher. Wow. It seemed from the research I've done and what people have said about him, such a good person. And I have to say, it honestly reminds me of Billy Joel's song, Only the Good Die Young. As another car flies past me, let's go to the cemetery and see the final resting place of Paul Walker. All right, my friends, we made our way back to Forest Lawn Memorial Park, and we started here this morning, and this is where we're going to end our video. After the headlines, after the tributes to Paul Walker, he was quietly laid to rest right here. This is where Paul Walker lays to rest today. There's no engines, no premieres, no film crew, cameras running. Just peaceful, quiet, the birds in the background and the beautiful hills of California. I mean, you can't get much more simple. There's not even birth dates, death dates. It's literally just Walker. I love the cars on top, flowers, in this little corner. How beautiful is this? I do wish they had like the normal, something written about him a little bit, his birth date, his death date. I guess to be fair, we did talk about those details a little bit earlier at the crash site and this and that, but I've never quite seen something this simple, and it must have just been what his family wanted, just Walker. And he's right there. If I'm being honest, guys, it was a pretty tough emotional day. I do feel like I tried my best to retrace this man's story and his journey, and you know, it's not just like we're coming here, here's the grave of Paul Walker. I wanted to bring you all along to really just give this guy a tribute and talk about his movies and go to where they filmed, and you know, even talk about a little bit his charity work. And unfortunately, it was really tough being at that crash site today, and this is, you know, seeing him laid to rest here is just as tough. But I hope he's looking down on us right now and thinks we did a good job. That's what, you know, I'm trying to do. Some celebrity deaths come with scandal, some come with chaos. But this one came with something much harder: sudden loss. He played a man who believed in loyalty and family, and in the end, that's exactly how the world remembers him. This has been the life and death story of Paul Walker, too young to die. Thank you all so much for joining me on episode number 2 of my 8-part series, Too Young to Die. Now, episode number 3, I hope you'll check that out next. In episode number 3, we feature actress Brittany Murphy, who tragically lost her life way too young, and we'll discuss her life, her career, her death, and visit her gravesite, which is also at this beautiful cemetery. So with that being said, thank you all again, and I'll see you in the next episode number 3.